Good morning, everyone. We're going to have a lab today, and it is on homologous chromosomes. So we're going to look at 6 of our traits, and that would be 6 genes. Now, not all genes like you see shown up here, not all of our traits, I should say, like our hair color, our skin color and stuff, they're not all based off of just one gene. Some traits are, but a lot of traits are based on multiple genes working together. I think skin color, for example, is with 7 different genes. But we're looking at 6 different traits, and we're all going to have a variation with the combination of these traits. So just to give you a mental framework of what we're doing once we get into it, realize that it's all based on what's happening inside of your chromosomes. So, homologous chromosomes. Miles, do you know what that means to you? How would you describe a homologous chromosome?
The 2 chromosomes that have the same genetic material.
As you can see, like gene A, but they're called alleles. Sometimes they're the same color, sometimes they're not. And it says right here, not necessarily the same allele for this gene. So do you know what the word allele might stand for? The same gene, but not the same allele of the gene. So it's sort of the obvious. What?
Like type of it?
What?
Like a type of the gene?
Type of a gene? Okay, I know what you mean by type. That means a different flavor, like ice cream, right? Vanilla, chocolate, strawberry, but it's still ice cream. So if this is eye color, it's still a color of an eye, but a variation of the color. So make sure this is the first time you're seeing that word. It just means a different form of the gene or flavor of the gene. So in today's lab, we're going to see an either or, just 2 variations. And we're going to call it dominant or recessive. Now, some of you guys have already had a little intro to heredity from junior high. And the same thing went for mitosis and meiosis. So this might come easy for you, or it might take a few classes for it to click. But you've kind of recognizing that you own the process, right? So if you need to see it again, come on into office hour and I can run through this with you. Office hours are now every other day. And it's not just meant for makeups when you're absent. It's also to run your homework by me before you turn it in, especially for lab work, so that you can ensure that you're going to ace all your homework in your labs. That offsets tests that are a little bit harder, right? So the way to get an A in a class is get an A in homework and labs. And then you can score all the way down to a C on tests and still get an A. But when you let your homework and your lab work go down to a B or C, then you can't earn an A, even if you're doing B work on your test. So I'm just reminding you about that. Carolina, are y'all finished? Yeah. Okay, thanks. So that was just a little plug for office hour. I know that yesterday we had our first office hour, and so it was kind of like a social time to catch up with your friends because we've just been arriving and leaving with really no social time, no lunch and everything. So now that we have that back, make sure that you're utilizing office hour so that you can prepare for the next quiz. So I'll show you our schedule. I've got the schedule built out for 5 classes. So in 5 classes, we're going to have a quiz on a very small amount of material to help those of you who were overwhelmed by 4 weeks of material. So it's important that you stay on track and understand what we're talking about. So don't get caught up just in the action of what we're doing today, but understand the answers to the conclusion questions. Really, that's the important part. But I wanted to show you that picture right there. And one more thing in our textbook. We are in chapter 9, and I noticed that they have a Punnett Square. So we'll be talking about this. This is a box that helps you understand what the offspring might be like. What's the percentage that your child's going to have this trait? If mom and dad have this trait, what's the percentage that the child will have that trait? This is called genetic counseling. In some cases, it's important for parents to know that risk of potentially passing on this gene, which could cause a problem for an offspring. And you can see that the offspring are inside the box. The egg and the sperm are on the top and the left of the box. And since all genes come in pairs, and we know in meiosis, these homologous chromosomes get separated into a gamete, an egg, or a sperm. So if the mom is capital letter A and lowercase letter a, meaning that it's a different allele or a form of the gene, you can see that it's 50% chance that the egg is going to have one or the other. And then the same thing for the sperm, right? So they're showing you what the parents are. A capital letter is referred to as the dominant trait. So if that dominant trait even has one gene, all genes come in pairs, so you get 2 copies of every gene, one from each parent. But if you got one dominant gene from any parent, you will show the dominant trait. When you see an uppercase and a lowercase, that means that they're a hybrid. They're a mixture. If they were all capital letters, they would be homozygous, kind of like a purebred. So they could be homozygous dominant if they have 2 capital letter A's, homozygous recessive if they had 2 lowercase letter A's. But in this case, you can see they're hybrids. The other name for that is heterozygous. And so this is just an introduction to these words if you haven't heard them before. This terminology is what we will be using to describe genes and inheritance. So you're seeing some of that today in the class. So now you can see that there's a 25% chance that all of the offspring are going to be normal because they inherited that capital letter allele. And then 25% are going to be inheriting the recessive gene from mom and dad. The only way a recessive gene can be expressed is if both parents gave that recessive gene to the offspring. Yep. And then look, if you're heterozygous, if you're a hybrid mix of an upper and a lower gene, you're still going to show the dominant trait, but you are carrying the recessive gene and you don't even know it. So this is where parents might not know, hey, what's the chance that my child, in this case it's being an albino, lacking the pigment in your skin and in your hair and in your iris of your eyes. So it's based on a missing protein. The genes code for proteins. So we'll be heading this way next week, going over Punnett squares, but I just wanted to give you that heads up about what we're doing. So now, here is the lab that we're going to be clicking into. Open up your Canvas page. We're going to look at 6 different human traits today, and we are going to put all of our data into a database. You'll be anonymous, so no one will know all the traits that you have. Only you will know as you put it in there. And I've got a collection of all of my classes. So I have yesterday's classes in there. You'll be added to it. So we're going to look at about 75 students to kind of get a bigger average. You know, the law of averages states that you should have a large sample size in order for the average to be average. Otherwise, if it's a small subset, the outliers might look like, hey, that's the way it is. For example, if I'm going to flip a coin, we know that it's 50-50 heads, but if I flip it just 5 times, it might come up 5 times heads or 4 times tails. That's not 50%. But if we flip the coin 100 times or 1,000 times, it's going to be very close to 50%. So what you have to do is open up this Observing Human Traits lab in Notability. The directions are that we're going to all enter our data into this Google form. So we'll be clicking into that. Then a few minutes after that, I will make available to you right there all the data. So I'll collect all of that and put it into a numbers file for us. So we're going to be looking at the traits. With your earlobes, dimples, whether you have a cleft chin, a straight hairline, hair on your fingers, and whether you have a bent thumb called a hitchhiker's thumb. And there's pictures for each of these, so let's describe it. So your earlobe, near the end right here that attaches to your head, if it goes in a straight line and doesn't dangle down, that is called an attached earlobe. But if you look right there, this part is not attached, it's hanging down, and that is called a free earlobe. So you're going to describe your ear as one or the other. I've got a drop-down list for you. Dimples. If you have dimples, indentations in your cheek or next to your mouth, and somebody yesterday said, well, I only have one dimple, so does that count? Yeah, if you have one dimple, that's dimples. So absent is when you don't have any. And then the cleft of the chin. If you have an indentation in your chin, that's called a cleft chin, otherwise no cleft. And here's the thumb. If you were to hitchhike, for example, and don't do that. If your thumb doesn't have any bend to it or a slight bend, that is a straight thumb. But if it bends back at a 45-degree angle, close to a 90-degree angle, you push down on it and it's like it can bend over on itself. It's almost like double-jointed thumb. That is called a hitchhiker's thumb. And this is interesting. Maybe you haven't even noticed. Look at all of your fingers. And if you have one hair on any finger anywhere, you have the finger hair gene. So it's either absent of all hair on your fingers and present. And I wonder if you have that gene if you have hair on your toes as well. So think about it. If you don't have any hair on your fingers, do you have any hair on your toes?
Well, let's find out.
And then last, if your hairline, pulling back your hair maybe up by your forehead, if it's straight, there you go, you have a straight hairline. If it dips down a little bit in the middle like that, that is called a widow's peak. And so it's pretty easy to spot that. So right here, you can click in to record your response. I don't know if that hyperlink will work for you. Oh, it looks like it does in a preview. Or you can go back to Canvas and you can click right there. And so now go ahead and enter in your data. I've already done it, so if that's the case, I can go in and edit my response. So you guys are block 4. And you just go and you hit the drop-down list and hit submit. So I'll give you 2 minutes to do that. And then I'm going to make available for everyone this data from all of our classes. You have a straight hairline. Straight. While you're waiting for me, go ahead and answer the first two pre-lab questions. And then look over the rest of the lab, and then we're going to come together and work on it together. Open up your data file in numbers.
Right there.
All right, so it looks like this when you first turn it on, and you might have the word edit in the top right-hand corner. So you have to hit edit in order for you to do things with this. So does everyone see all the data listed down below over here? Anyone need help with that? It needs to be in the Numbers app and not Notability. Are you ready? You have it, Emma? Okay. I'm going to go pretty fast, but this topic is recorded. If you need to see it again, you could have a friend do this for you, and then it would look good on your homework. But make sure you understand how to do this yourself. So if you have to spend a little time understanding tables and charts, then that's part of this assignment. We've done this a number of times, so it should go by pretty fast, but it's been a while, so we need a refresher. So first of all, if you haven't already tapped your finger into the table, you have to do some tap anywhere in order for you to get the numbers representing the rows and the letters for the columns. Tap on the number 1 and it will select the entire row. So I'd like for you to tap on 1 and then it highlights everything. Remember the paintbrush up at the top? I'm going to ask for you to click over to the word cell up at the top. Once you click on the paintbrush, make sure you're on cell, and then it says cell fill. So we're going to make that heading kind of pop out with the color. And it's on presets, which are grayscale, and you can click on the word color, and then you could make this any color you want.
Are we supposed to make it like?
If you wanted to get fancy, you could also change the color of your text. So oftentimes white on a dark background looks really good. White on a light background doesn't. So I'll show you. So I'll go ahead and change. All right, now click on the letter A. Click on the letter A and it selects the entire column. And you see how the column is too wide? We don't need that much space for a 1-digit number. And I even made the symbol hashtag for number. So you can resize columns by clicking on the vertical equal, the 2 vertical lines, and you can just grab that. And if you want to do that to any others, you can even make them too small, and then you get text wrapping. That's kind of weird. Just to clean it up a little bit. Now click on the letter B. We're going to be doing each of these 6 different traits, and You could go by and count each one if you wanted to, but if I gave you 10,000 records, you can't do things just by counting. So we're going to put the power of spreadsheets to use here. We're going to sort this. So after you click on the letter B, you get a menu pop up, and we're going to click Column Actions, and we're going to sort. And you guys are block 4, so you'll pop up first. So I'm going to click on Sort Ascending. Oh, we're going to do that second. We sorted ascending on either attached. So A comes before F for free. So now we have all of the ones attached are together. Do you know how records work? Each row is a record. So this is one person with all their traits. If we sort it by this column and their record moved up here, every column moved with it. So this whole row moves together. So it's not just the one cell that moved, but their entire record. Now go ahead and click on the letter A for column A, and we're going to column action and sort that ascending as well. So now what happened was we sorted all of you guys who have free earlobes are at the top. And it looks like everybody from block 4 has free earlobes.
Except for one person.
One person?
It's like a bunch of people.
Free. No, they would have shown up right there. There's no attached, is there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's at the top.
What's at the top?
It's me.
Okay, so I sorted that wrong, so now we're going to sort column B, sort ascending. Oh no, that was right. Oh yeah. So how many block 4 students are there in the list? If we go right down here, the last one is on 23. But notice that the first record is the header, and that's number 1. So I got 22 of you in here. I don't know if everyone got their data in. But we're going to go with 22. But I'm going to go with all of them. So I'm not going to sort by block. If you want to just do your block, I'm going to do everybody. So how many attached are there for everyone? 14. I went in and I resorted block, column B, so I have all the blocks. I'm going to go with all the blocks. There's 14 students that have attached. So now I'm going to go up here and I'm going to write 14. I already built out the bar chart. So as we enter data into the 2 yellow columns, the bar chart is going to fill in for the 2 alleles for this gene. So how many should the free be? If I go down to the end of the table, I have 72 records minus 1 because of the header. So there are 71 students in here. Do you remember that every cell in a spreadsheet is a calculator? So I can quickly do calculations, like if I pulled out a calculator, 72 minus 14. So to do that, you have to be in the cell where you want the answer. And I can then touch the word cell. And it says new formula. You can always hit the equal button when it's a tool down below and it starts a formula too. New formula. Now I'm in a formula and I can use this calculator buttons down here or my keyboard and I could build a formula, or we could even search for a formula, but we're going to make a simple formula. It was 71 minus, so I typed in 71 minus, and now I'm going to tap right there on number 14. I just made a reference to a cell. I didn't type in the number 14, and it even gave me, I tapped on the number of form 2 for earlobe. The number of form 2, there's the column heading, and for earlobe. So it picks up the column name and the row name. Green check mark. And there it is. But the power of spreadsheets is you only have to type a formula once. I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to paste. And I'm going to paste. I meant to paste the formula, so I don't know if it did that. Paste. I didn't copy the formula. Copy.
Is that a 5 or a 6 or 57?
Oh, sorry, I did the wrong one. I meant to copy 57. I was wondering why 14 kept popping up. Okay, so I'm going to copy 57, which has the formula, and I'm going to paste it, and it's pasting as a formula. Did you see what I did? I made a formula right there. Once I counted up one form, I just subtracted that from the total, which was 71. I made the formula there and I copied it down below. I'm going to come around and help you in a minute if you need specific help with your formulas. Let's do another one. Dimples. Go down, tap on letter C, column actions, sort ascending. And now I have everyone that does not have a dimple up at the top. So I'm going to look down here, find out where it changes from none to present. And it's at record number 49. So the last one was 48. That means that there are 47 students that do not have dimples. Because record number 1 is the header. It was 47. 47 do not have dimples. So now I'm going over here and I'm typing in a number which overwrites my formula. Now notice I have an equal button and I'm right there, so I'm going to hit my calculator button right there. 71 minus, I'm going to tap on 47 and then hit enter, and it tells me that 24. I'll do one more. Chin. Okay. Chin. Tap letter D. Column actions. Sort ascending. It looks like it ends with row 12 minus 1. So there are 11 people that have a cleft chin. So you go up here and type in 11. I made the formula right over here, so I'm going to tap that, copy it, and paste the formula over to the next row. Or I can make a new formula. Copy, paste, formula.
Is that a 60?
Yep.
On your side of this.
So you could be typing in the numbers, but it would be better if you knew how to make a formula. So I'll do that again on the next one so that you can see how easy it is to use every cell as a calculator. Moving down to hairline. Tap on E for that column. Column actions, sort ascending. Quite a few. I'm at row 58. That means 57 students don't have a widow's peak. 57 straight. So 57. I had built the formula before, and so I just hit enter, and it tells me the difference. I'll show you how to build the formula. If I wanted to build this formula, I could tap right there. That's where I want my answer. Hit the word cell. Start a new formula. And now type away. There's a total of 71 students, so I type 71. Hit the minus button. And then type my answer right there. Not type it, but tap on the cell that has the answer. And then green check mark. All right, how'd you do on finger, hair, and thumb? Did you do that one yet? Finger hair, tap F, column actions, sort ascending. We're on record 40, minus the header row is 39 students with hairy fingers. 39 with hair. You can do the math. This is where I want my answer. Click on the equal button. 71 minus. Tap on the cell containing 39 and enter. Hitchhiker's thumb. Tap the letter G. Column actions, sort ascending. I'm on row 27, so there's 26 students that have a hitchhiker thumb. 26. I already had the formula in there from that top row. I made the formula there and copied it all the way down. To turn this in, you're going to export this over to Notability as a PDF file. Either one of these will work. However, if you say fit each sheet to a single page, it makes your moving things around in Notability easier because you don't only have to move one page instead of 3 pages. So I'm going to hit save it as a single page. Export this to Notability, and I don't want to create a new note. I'm going to add it to Observing Human Traits Lab. Yeah?
Can you zoom in on the chart, please?
Okay. I have so many versions open. Where did mine go? Well, I'm going to go with this one for demonstration purposes. I'm not sure where I just put my file. All right, one more thing that I want to make sure you understand how to do. The directions say at Canvas, put your data in the right spot. When you combine files in Notability, it puts your file on the last page, right? So you have to click on the icon for showing all the pages. Grab your data that you just sent over and long press on it, and then you're able to move things around so that it is in the right spot. It needs to be right after page 2 so that it becomes the new page 3. So your data is going to come right after the example table right over here. And so then you're going to have your data. Don't do a screenshot. We exported it.